So we'll check about the partial views now. Now what exactly is a partial view? So in general, in one view, right, or in one page, right, so there can be a chance that you may have to show data for multiple objects of same time iteratively. Take an example of student details itself. Now here you can see there was a enumerable of student, right? We'll actually see how to actually write partial view for here itself. Right? We have a enumerable of student, which means we wanted to actually get all the list of students, right? And then we wanted to actually loop on and show the details. Right? Anyways, here we are actually showing the data in a row manner, right? But you can see there is a chance that we are actually looping on, right? And we're actually showing the data. Let's say you have to show the same piece of data in 10 different views. Then what we'll do? Normally you can actually write the same piece of code in 10 different views, let's say, right? Where you're actually showing the details of all details of students with the same detail set, right? And tomorrow, let's say you don't want certain details. Let's say you don't want phone number, address, and you don't need this created type. Edit it out. You have to show only these three details, right? So then what you can do? So you won't be able to actually distinguish because you have to change. In all 10 views, you will have to change the code in all 10 views. That is something which is going to be cumbersome. And if you're actually working in a heavy application which contains more views and there is actually showing these details more and more, and you want to just increase one field, right? Again, it's going to be cumbersome to actually work on all the fields, all the views wherever you are actually showing the student. So maintenance part will actually get increased, right? If you don't use the common partial views. So for that we have something called partial views where we can actually create view once and we can use them anywhere we want. Right? So let's see how we can actually use it. So let me create a simple view here. So let's say so I'm just saying show details or show, let me call it as show details, right? So this is something which is going to be my actual view where I will be actually populating all the details, right? So here I'll just say return of view. So this view is to show all the details of my student. So let me take that, right? OBJ. Or now as we know how to create object now, so let me write the complete object here itself. So I have new dal, right? Dot, I'll say get students. Now this will give me all the list of students. So I can actually pass this directly, right? Creating an object of students and passing it directly to a view. This is what is my show details. So let me create a view now, simple view. So we are not creating a partial view yet. We are just looking at how thing works. So let me create a show details and just remove everything. If you want to create a strongly typed view, you can create, but let's see manually how to actually create a strong type view using a model class. So this is my simple view I have. So as of now, let me this remove this layout and all. We'll see this layout part later. So you have a model, right? What is a model? It's a list of, you have MVC entity class library dot student. Right? We are actually going to show the student details here. It's right here. Let me take these. Sorry. Let's say here I'm gonna show. I will have to take a loop for my model, right? Because the model is nothing but a list of students, right? And here what I'm doing, I'm actually showing the data in some format, let's say, right? So here let me take a table, right? Or let me take a table here. Each table I'm going to create a separate table for it. Let's say TR and let's say TD, where I'm going to show each data like item, sorry, at the rate, right? Item of, let's say, roll number. So here student name, let's say address, so I'm going to show this thing, let's say, and I'm going to show each and every student in separate table, let's say, right? Where let me call board as 1, so that I will show the board. So what I'm doing is I'm actually showing this in separate table, right, which contains the border. Right. Now this may be this may give different width of each table, but that's fine, right? But my main intention is to show each and everything in a separate range. Right. Now let's run this and see how it actually gets populated. So your default index, right? Let me forward it to show students here, right? So that it will get populated. So we do this. Different, records I'm showing in separate cells and separate tables actually. But anyways, you can see the main motive is to show all the details in a table, separate table here, and so you actually that. Right? So this is how you normally use if you have to code everything. Now let's say, so these type of views, let's say you have many and you want to show the data in the same way. Then there is a chance that you can create a separate view or a partial view, right? And actually make sure your actual piece of data which you are showing is actually showing in that view, and use it in multiple views. So let's see how to create a partial view. Now partial view you can actually create anywhere you want, right? I mean, when I say anywhere, inside a views, right? You can create in either shared, right, or you can create in home, or inside home you can create a separate folder and right. So as we are working on a home control, right, so let me show you how to create a view here. Now right click on your home, and this is a simple way how we create a view. So here we'll just add a view first, right? So in this view you can see I have an option called create as a partial view. So when you say create as a partial view, right, it will actually take it as a view which is independent of any controller action. You don't need any action controller for actually mapping it, right? And all the partial views actually start with underscore. This is a naming convention which is standard naming convention we have. So for partial views, you always start with this underscore. Underscore is nothing but your it conveys that you are either creating a partial view or a layout, right, or something which is not connected directly to an action method of your controller, right? So let me call this partial view as student and click on. So when you add, right, you will see a blank view got created here, which is a student.cshtml, same view, but which doesn't have any action methods in it. Now here, why I created this student is to map each student, right? So the main concern here is that whoever want to show a student loops or a single student, right, they should actually use this in their views to show, because I am going to standardize the way how they are shown. Now here, student, what I can do, I can create my own model views. So let's say I'm going to take model here like student, right? So which means my student is the actual class, which is my student is actual model class, which I'm going to consider in my partial view, which means for this partial view, mandatorily you have to pass student model object, and here I'm going to take a table again. So or you can say I'm going to take everything here, control X, and I want everything. So I'm going to define how the pattern. Now anyways, we have a model as student, right? So we are going to take model, because model is student here, direct student. Now I can take a model where I'll have all the mappings. Now this is a simple partial view we created to show how to show the details here. Now here, this is how I'm actually showing each and every details. Now let's go back and see, okay, for each loop, how can I call my partial view? I know that for the partial view I have to pass student object. How can I pass student object to some other view or some other page from here? Right now, there is an easy way how to actually call. Now again, we'll be using HTML helper class, right, where we have something called partial, right? So this partial is the internal method which we have in HTML or helper class, where you can provide your partial view name, right? My partial view name is student. Make sure you give the right name of your view. You don't have to give the extension, but you just have to give the name of your view, which is student, right? Now we gave the student, but what does student need? The student need this partial view need an object of some student model. Now you can see you can pass your model directly into it. So I'll pass the item. Because item is each student I have, right? Because I have a list of students here, and I'm actually iterating to that, and each item is nothing but a student, and I'm passing that item to the student so that each student will be pushed to this partial view, and it will come to partial view student, and it will map this HTML automatically. And what happens? This part of partial view will automatically be placed here. That is how it works, right? So your students, whatever you are writing here, will be placed automatically at this portion of this, and this loop will be applied for your partial. That's how it happens. Now let's run this and see how it actually gets. And then now you will see the same type of output here, as if you are actually writing everything in the same view. So let's see that part. Right? You can see the output, it actually gets integrated with the same view. So the same view here. And if you go to source of this page, now you can see, right, it actually created different tables in the same page, right? But these are partial views normally. Partial views actually getting all the details from my main view, mother view. This is how we come. And if you change anything in your view, let's say you're going to change or you're going to create a simple rule or a horizontal rule. Let's say I'm going to create a break here. And I'm going to create a simple break here. I change something in this partial view so that I want to get all the other views affected once I change in one view, right? Now let's go back and refresh this. Refresh this page. See, now you can see everything is getting one. Right, so this is how we can actually make things work. Now, if you want to change further, like let's say you have a div. I'm taking one div here, where I'm gonna say in this div, I'm gonna say style as align center, and this table I'm gonna take style as your margin as output. Okay, which means I'm gonna take things more seriously in my partial view, and I'm actually trying to arrange my data. Go back and see how it works. Right? Everything gets centered. Now we are actually showing data in different cells. Right? So that's how it actually works. Okay. So similarly, if you want, you're actually looking for more clear things, right? So let's say you're going to take margin as let's say 20 points, right? Where I'm going to make this more intuitive. Right? So margin is something, let's see, right? Which will actually give you. So I'm taking margin this and this. So each cell here should actually get a bigger margin as such. So here you will actually get a bigger, margin of your. I mean, you get a big cell, right, with data in it, and you will get clear. Anyways, now this is something which you can see. I have actually changed in my partial view, and you can see it actually get affected on my main view, and things are working fast. Right. So this is how a partial view works. And now if you can use this partial view in any number of views, it will give you a same output so that you can actually keep consistent across. Now the main advantage here is that if you want to remove some field or add some field, you can directly add in one partial view and it will get affected to that. So this is how we normally get used to a view which is direct partial view. So this is how we render partial view from a controller, right? We are actually calling some view. So in this view, we are actually calling my let's say partial view, and I'm actually injecting the model here. Now let's see. So we have one more way that you can actually render direct a partial view from an action method also, right? So how to do it? Let's see. So we have some return type called partial view result. Now this is a partial view result which is a child of action result itself, right? But it helps us in direct returning of a partial result by injecting some data. Let's say I'm gonna get it as show student separate student, right? Now here, what I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to take a dial, right? Or let me take student object, which is let me call S is equal to, we have new dial object dot get students to get a list. So from here, I'm gonna use my link where I want to get a single where R lambda r dot roll number. Let's say I'm going to take roll number as 1. Now this is where, let's say I'm going to get one student, right? One student which will be saved in my student S. And here I want to show my data directly here. So I'll use something called partial view directly. This is a return type. Now you can see this partial view will return a partial view result which contains multiple details. You can see you can inject a model. If you can inject a model until unless you don't know what partial view you are returning, you don't understand. Now here you have view name and model directly. Now here let me give view name as, let's say, student, right? This is my view name, partial view name. And what is the object? I'll pass on class. Now this is my show student I'm showing. Now let me call this show student here. So by default I'm not going to take show details, or rather I'm going to take show student, which is my direct action. I don't have any view for this. See, right click on the show student and say go to view. It says unable to find match because we haven't created anything. But I'm using a partial result return where I can return this directly. Right? So let's run this and see. See, we have one student, this guy. Now this is your partial result. See, you can see the show student here. It's a view. It actually shows you as an action result, which is the content, but actually you're returning a partial view with one student details here. This is something which is, this is how you can actually return your partial view. So see what happens in partial view. See, go to your definition of partial view. Now you can see partial view is a class. Now this is a class of meta, which means you can see this from system.web.mvc. You are actually looking at a class partial view result. Now partial view result is inheriting a view result base. And in view result base, go to definition here. See, view result base is returning inheriting action result. What does that mean? It means that your partial view is a child of action result. Right? So A is inherited to B and B is inherited to C. What does it mean? Obviously C can be using everything from A. So this is how the action result is the one which is like parent of all. Right? That's the reason why for every return you can see for type, every return type I can actually directly use this. Right? Which is redirect to route. Right? I can directly use something called here redirect to route result because I'm returning that type of return here. But see what I'm doing? I'm actually using action result directly. So anything is fine. Either you can use a specific one or different. But if you use some other thing like, let's say, partial view result, right? You want to return partial view, but here what you're doing something else. This is not allowed. Either you can use the actual one or use the parent of all. Right? So that's how your action methods will work in your controllers. And everything is, so because our controller is the main guy who actually routes, takes care of requests, right? So you have to be more careful on what type of, type you're actually using. Right? So this is how we normally work with partial views. Right? Now let's see the next one, which is a layout. Now what is a layout and how do we use this? Now in ASP.NET, right, we have seen something called master pages, right? So master page is something which is used to give a consistent look and feel to our complete website, right? Where the major portion of your website, like menus and everything, right, you are going to design in your master page. And you will create something called child pages, right? Using one of the content placeholders of the master page. That's what we have. So here in case of MVC, we have something called layouts concept. So layout is nothing but your master. We normally call in MVC We don't call it as master page. Yes, we also call master page. We normally say creating a layout. So layout is like, you are actually creating a layout, and using layout you can create views. So that's how the convention is made, right? So this is again something which is um, used for a consistent look and feel of your site, right? Which doesn't have any, which is not mandatory that we have to use a controller action method to this, but any view can use this, right? Your existing views, or if you're creating a new views, right? They can use this layout to actually make the make actual data look consistent. So let's see how we can actually create that. So here, let me close the that's this. So here, let me create a new action result here, and let me call it as let me take few action results, which I can use. Let me say home. Let me call default. Default is a page. So, I can call, let's say this as let me call home page or more. Let me call home page. Right. And this is my home, let's say. Right. So here I'm going to return a view. Right. So this is the main page we have created. So even before creating multiple pages or multiple views, let's decide a layout. Now you can create a layout anywhere you want. Like when I say anywhere, again under views you can create multiple folders for views, for layouts, and you can create. But in general, for standard process, we normally create layouts under shared folder. Right? We have a shared folder under views. If you don't have shared folder, you can create a shared folder, and you can create your layouts here. Right? So go there. You have a default layout here, which actually gives you a direct render body. Let's clear everything and write our own layout. Right? We're not looking for, let's say, clear this and clear this. We have a simple, let's create a simple layout where I'm going to create a simple table, yeah, and keys. Now here, it is important that initially in ASP.NET, right, we created something called content placeholders, and the content placeholders are mainly used to hold the data, right? I mean, actually hold the data for contents, which means header part content separate, body content separate, right? Footer content separate, and if you have some menus, your menus separate, and all, and so on, right? So similarly, you can actually use a few things here, right? So let's see how. So here you have your table. Let's say you have something called header here. So let me take an image directly. Right, let's call it image. Right, where let's say I'm going to give the image URL here. But before that, let me create a folder and give here. So I can create image folders in content. Right. I click on this. Say add new folder called images. Let me just say add existing item. Right. The only thing is the way how you use this, right, is different. How we normally use this is different, but how we are going to use this, the way how we use this is going to be same, right? As ASP.NET, how we create a content pages, themes, and everything. But the way how it actually renders this website is something which is going to be a disciplined way of model control, right? So let's go ahead and give some source, image source to this. So here we have a content, images, and this. Right, where I can mention some height as some 40 pxp. you can check your title here, right? I gave body here. This is 1TD, right? 1TD where, let's say this is I'm actually calling my site header, right? I'll create, after TD here itself, I'll create a simple, let's say, break, and I'll create a horizontal rules, just to define that, yes, this is something, and let me call style as minimum height, something like 60 px or so. Right? 60 px here, simple TD for image and horizontal rule and something. This is my header, and let me create a body part. Now body part is something which you are going to create, right? Now body is something which you are going to create a child, right? So for that you can actually have something called render body. Now this is something which is @render body is an internal, internal like a content placeholder of a body. Now if you create any view out of this layout, right, the complete view will be placed at this place, right? So that's how your render body will actually capture it. We'll see that part. And here, let's say you have some TR which you are going to make it as a TD. Let's say this is a footer. So what I'm going to call it as, let's say, copyrights to MVC.com. Right? So we are going to show that we have a copyright. Yes. We have your copyright. MVC.com here. Is a footer. Let's call this style as minimum height as some, let's say, some 30 pixels. And for body, let's say that style of minimum height of, let's say, 400 or 300 pixels. So these are simple view you have created, and let me create here a simple horizontal rule and break here so that I can show you. You have created a simple master page. Now this is a simple master page where you have created a header and your footer and a body, so that multiple pages, right? Multiple pages can have a simple layout, right? Simple layout, and everything will have a consistent look from your layout. Now let's go and create different things. So we have a, let's say, main page, and let me call some more pages as a contact page or contact method. Action method, we have about action method, let's say, and let's say you have something called tutorials, maybe action method. So I have these action methods which I have in mind. Right? Okay. Now let's go ahead and create a view. Let's see how we can actually use this. So right click on this main page and say add view. Right. So in this add view you have a main page, right? So select your views layout or master page and select this. Right. So here you can see in shared you are getting layout. So select that option. Now this will actually make sure, see, use a layout of master page. So for this view we are going to use this layout as a master page. That is what it conveys. Click on add. So when you add, see here, your layout will get added. Now if you remember, right, in our previous pages also we actually got this layout, if you remember, right? But it was null, right? So because we didn't use any layout as such, we were actually using a simple views and getting it done. But this time we are using an actual layout, and layout is nothing but your layout.csv which you created in share. Now here you can see viewbag.title. Now why we are actually saving the header, the title of your page in viewbag.title? Because you go to layout, you can see we are actually trying to access with viewbag.title here. So whatever my child pages provide, so let's say this is home, right? Whatever my child previous provide, it will be rendered in your layout and it will show as a single title. That's how it goes, right? This is my main page I have. So let's say I'm going to create a simple H2 related H2, right? Let me create it as div, right? And let me make it a style. So let's go ahead here and we can actually style it up here, right? So let's say that's fine. So let me call it as a font. We have size, font size, and let's say it is large. And we have font color. Style. It's not opening the style here. Let me just open up the style here. So there is some problem with that's fine. So here I'm just taking my div to be I'll just call this is home page. Just trying to mention the home page, right? So it will render. Now let me first run this part once, main page, right? So as soon as my home page loads, I want the main page to be redirected, and from there I can go to contact itself. So let me run this issue. See here, we have a simple home page, right? We have a simple header, and anyways we have to actually make this more intuitive, right? But we have consistent page. Now here, let's go to layout and say table as style width to be, we have width to be, let's say 100%. And make sure you're having width as 100%, the complete width you have, right? Let's zoom this and see. So here you can see now you got the complete width of 100. So here let's see that I'm gonna make this as text align as center here, and again my body which I'm gonna show here, let's say I'm gonna make text align, or let's make this in specific one itself as text align as 2, right? So let's refresh this. See, you get some decent page. Now if you want to increase your main body, increase, right, where you get a header, your home page and your corporate, you can see that, right? This is a simple page you have, right? So similarly, let's say you want to create it for others and actually create a menu for tracking all the pages, right? So here what I'll do, I'll just go back to this body, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one more table inside this, right? Let me create a table here, and let's style as margin auto. In this table I'm going to create a row. In this row I'll have two TDs, where in one TD it takes its primary body, and in another TD, let's say I'm going to take a menu, right? So here what I'm going to do, I'll take a simple menu as list. Right, where I'll have, let's say, now here I'm going to create my action links. So I have a list item. So in list item, I'm going to take a HTML helper class dot action link, right? Where I have to give the link text now. So let me give the first link text is home, right? And here I have to mention the action name. So my action name will be, so let's say you have main page, right? So let's give it as a main page here. And controller is nothing but your home. And this is your action page. So check whether that is, yes, you have a controller action. Similarly, let me copy all. So second one is contact. We'll create the views for this, don't worry. Contact, here we have about, right? Let's say we have about, and we have something called tutorials. And we created a simple menu option to navigate through different. Now here, let's say I'm going to create contact and view. So I'm going to take same layout, add that you have a contact. So let me just take same div as main page just to show this is a contact page. Similarly, let's go back and say about here, and we have an about and we have the same layout. And again, saying the same thing here. Let's say about this is about just and let's say this is contact this page. We go to next one, which is tutorials. We add a view and we have a layout here, right? Just something different so that we are going to right. So we have created a simple pages here. Now let's run this and see how it actually gets navigated. You can see, okay, we gave home and all, right? So let's go back here to layout. Now in layout, so I have all home, right? So let's say this is tutorials, right? This is contact, and this is about, right? So different place, and let me just small changes. I just changed it to this. So let me refresh this page. So I'm not going to take any. Now you can see. So some simple way how it actually gets rendered. Now let's say if you want to make it more intuitive. So let's say style. Let's say I'm going to take some border. Here solid and border width to be, let's say, in right side, right, and let's say border width. And the border right color, let's say it has something. Right, where I'm taking a simple border here, and let's say you have a margin of 20 pixels. Right, let's go back and refresh this page. Right, you can see you have some space in here where you are getting some row, right? Now let's go to tutorials. You can see you can actually navigate. And this you can arrange these things top or anyway, right? You can see a home page tutorials where you can see all my other things are right same. Right, your footer, header, everything is same as your layout and you're creating your menus. Right? So sometimes you may have to create menus here, or sometimes you may need in a direct header page. Right? You can do that. So here itself directly in your header, you can place your things ready. So let's say you are going to create a TR, CP, and DD. This is for menus, let's say. So where I'm gonna create, let's say this complete links whatever we have, right? We're going to create it in a separate table here. Let me show you that part. So here I'm going to create a table. Right, and create, let's say, OTDs where I'm not going to take any links here, but I'll take this as a it's all about how you are actually arranging things. So let me take this and take this too. Right, I'm actually taking a separate row in my header part itself, let's say, and what I'm doing, I'm actually creating this. So in this GD, let's make style as text align as right, then make this table style. Right, and here what I'm doing, I'm actually doing a render body, right? So I don't need any T stuff now because I'm not rendering any menus here. Right, a simple 3D. Simple. Now here you have a horizontal node here, so let's take this out and keep that in my table in TD. Let's have a break. Right, now let's run this and see how it's going to work now. Right, you can see simple menus here. Right, so where you have some space, if you want some space in here, right, you can actually create a padding here. So like, let's say we have padding some 20 units. I'm just taking an example for one. Refresh. You can see we'll get some padding. Padding is nothing but here simple. It will actually create padding space at positions top, bottom, and at the side it will create a text. It's a simple, right? It's a simple here. Now you can actually, anyways, now you can see big space being gone, right? So let me take this as some 40 or 40 px height and remaining just run this. It will actually decrease your height, everything. Now you can see home this contact right? So you're getting the frequency. Now this is how you can actually create a simple layout, right? Where you're actually checking out everything same, but your contact is registered. Right? So this is something how you can actually create a layout and mention the layout for your views. Right? So similarly, you can also have different things like here we created a view layout, right, where we were using my view back title. So every page will have a view back title, like you can see tutorials, I'm giving about, contact, main pages, home and everything, right? So if you go, you can see here tutorials, you can see contact, you can see about, you can see everything is something which you are moving from child. Now and we are actually setting the title, main title in a title layout. So why do we need to do that? Let's say you have hundreds of views and you're actually making it specifically a layout, right? Then anytime you want to change, I can change. Let's say for every page I want to just append something called mysite.com. Right now, if you go back and refresh this, right? See, every time home will be there and you're opening mysite.com. Tutorials, mysite.com. Contact, right? Now this is something for, if you change at one place, all the pages are getting affected. that is the use of my my layout here. That, this is how we create layouts and use across the views. So similarly here, if you have a view here, right, when you are actually trying to return your views, even here you can actually use layouts. From control also you can actually mention which layout you want. Or if you want to show them in existing layouts, let's say this is a students thing, right, where we didn't add any layout. So let's say if you want to make this layout in here, you can do that, right? Student details, and let me show you. Let me take this to student details here. Student details. So let's go to student details here. See, your adult food and everything will be same, but you are actually showing student details. Right? So you can create for edit, go, everything you can create the same layout so that your pages will be consistent. Right? So that's how you can actually create your things. Right? Now, if you want to keep for all, let's say under controller this home, right? If you want to create for all your views, if you want to keep one layout, right? There is one more feature that you don't have to keep separate. Let's say in your contact, you're defining your layout and everything, right? You don't have to make that in a preview. Now you can see there is one file called view start. Here, if you mention your layout, right? Once you mention your layout, that is more than enough, and make this accessible for your control, let's say, right? So then it will actually take this layout default for any view you create. And if you want to override, anyways, if you give in that specific page, if you do layout, it will override the main view start. And if you don't want any layout, in this just say layout null. It will automatically consider that you don't want any layout for this page. Right? So that's how it actually works, where you're actually creating multiple layouts. So this is about the layout where you are creating a main master page and child inside, where it will actually take all the action methods and make sure everything comes in place. So this is what we have in our layouts.